Blog Talk Radio.
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or democratic processes. We should take nothing for granted. Only an alert and knowledgeable citizenry can compel the proper meshing of the huge industrial and military machinery of defense with our peaceful methods and goals, so that security and liberty may prosper together.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society, and we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings.
Yeah, that's him.
We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweighed the dangers which are cited to justify it. Even today, there is little value in opposing the threat of a closed society by imitating its arbitrary restrictions. Even today, there is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it. And there is very grave danger that an announced need for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. That I do not intend to permit to the extent that it's in my control.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. We have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
George Bush has invoked a new world order without enunciating a new American purpose.
Bush said, and it's a phrase that I often use myself, that we needed a new world order, and instead it looks like we got a lot of disorder.
Today we take an essential step in defeating terrorism while protecting the constitutional rights of all Americans. Preventing mass terror will be the responsibilities of presidents far into the future.
The Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. These are not simply words written into aging parchment. They are the foundation of liberty and justice in this country.
This is an ideological battle. Some people believe in globalism, others of us believe in national sovereignty. It's a contest between ideologies, whether we believe in our institutions here, our national sovereignty, our Constitution, or are we going to further move in the direction of international government? It's just knowledge is out there. If we look for it, you'll realize that our national sovereignty is under threat.
Now let's set the record straight. There's no argument over the choice between peace and war, but there's only one guaranteed way you can have peace, and you can have it in the next second: surrender. Admittedly, there's a risk in any course we follow other than this, but every lesson of history tells us that the greater risk lies in appeasement, and this is the specter our well-meaning liberal friends refuse to face, that their policy of accommodation is appeasement. And it gives no choice between peace and war, only between fight or surrender. If we continue to accommodate, continue to back and retreat, eventually we have to face the final demand, the ultimatum. And what then? When Nikita Khrushchev has told his people he knows what our answer will be. He has told them that we're retreating under the pressure of the Cold War, and someday, when the time comes to deliver the final ultimatum, our surrender will be voluntary, because by that time, we will have been weakened from within spiritually, morally, and economically. He believes this because from our side he's heard voices pleading for peace at any price, or better rev than death, or as one commentator put it, he'd rather live on his knees than die on his feet. and therein lies the road to war, because those voices don't speak for the rest of us. You and I know and do not believe that life is so dear and peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery. If nothing in life is worth dying for, when did this begin? Just in the face of this enemy? Or should Moses have told the children of Israel to live in slavery under the Pharaohs? Should Christ have refused the cross? Should the patriots at Concord Bridge have thrown down their guns and refused to fire the shot heard round the world? The martyrs of history were not fools, and our honored dead who gave their lives to stop the advance of the Nazis didn't die in vain. Where then is the road to peace? Well, it's a simple answer after all. You and I have the courage to say to our enemies, there is a price we will not pay, there is a point beyond which they must not advance. Winston Churchill said the destiny of man is not measured by material computations. When great forces are on the move in the world, we learn we're spirits, not animals. He said there's something going on in time and space and beyond time and space, which, whether we like it or not, spells duty. You and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness.
All right, everybody, how you doing tonight? It's Joseph Gibson here on Understanding the Times in which we live in today. Broadcasting from Greensboro, North Carolina at 7:36 p.m. on the East Coast. I've invited a lot of people onto the program as usual, and like Ronald Reagan just said, our liberal friends, they're not our friends anymore, they're our enemies. But tonight we have a very special program. A very important subject, abortion. And abortion is murder. There may be callers out there who disagree, and I hope they will cue in on that and maybe have a discussion. But I'd like to report the crime to the Governor Cuomo's office here tonight, because we call people live on this radio broadcast show. I invited a lot of people from the Right to Life movement, pro-life movement onto the program. They did not return my call. Of course, what you see on the internet is usually false anyway nowadays, and I probably was calling nobody anyway. But we do get a hold of people sometimes. And before I carry on with the topic of the show here tonight, which is abortion, and, you know, the right for the woman to choose, you know, we're going to get into that here in a few minutes here, a couple minutes actually. The right for the woman to choose. It's her body. She can choose what she wants to do with it, even after the child is born, according to New York State. Virginia, thank God, shot it down, but because they were going to do the same thing and follow suit. Just for some numbers here real quick on the topic of abortion, in New York State alone, 87,325 babies were murdered by abortion, okay, in 2016. Those are the latest numbers that they provide to me. 87,325 murders of children. And we're going to get into that, because there's people out there that say, well, the mother, it's hard times for the mommy. She has a right to choose. The mother has a right to choose. Well, hey, if the mother has a right to choose, what happens when the baby's 2 years old, 1 year old, 5 years old? Let's kill them then too. If the mother loses her job, let's kill children then too. Let's kill anyone under the age of 18, or unless they change that legal age too. Hey, why not? Murder is murder. I mean, why not? Let's kill them. Well, abortion is okay, if it's in the first trimester. Well, we all believe in science, don't we? And I'm going to tell you something right now. We all get up in arms if a little puppy dog is murdered or ran over on purpose, or a cat is murdered, but yet we sit back in our comfortable homes and our houses, and we go about our daily lives while human beings are murdered. And we're going to get into that on this show. We are. But I want to address some of the things that happened over the last couple of weeks on this radio program here for people that are listening on the internet. And we got thousands listening. And I hope my California listeners out there are listening also. One of the callers from California called in last week, very polite. I disagreed with her on some subjects, but we had a very polite discussion. However, some callers did call in. I'm not going to call out names here, and I'm not going to criticize anybody. However, this show is about an open platform, and we don't need to go back and look at what someone did 30 years ago, like Dr. Peter Ventura. 30 years ago, 25 years ago, I was a very bad person. I'm going to tell you something right now. 25 years ago, if someone threatened me or criticized me, I would break their legs, and I had the manpower to do it behind me. I took out a war on a town, in a town of Connecticut. I did it, but I'm not boasting, being boastful here right now and saying, "Yeah, look at me, don't mess with me." No. I was wrong for what I did, and everyone has a right to change, and I thank Dr. Vince Massa from Stamford, Connecticut, who's a pastor, who changed my life and made me see. And Dr. Vince Massa, who's an Italian, grew up in the mafia like Dr. Peter Ventura did, okay? Dr. Peter Ventura was in the mafia. Okay, he was a driver for a mafia boss, actually, in Waterbury, Connecticut, years ago. And you know what? Back then, during those times, he made some mistakes, and he paid for it. He went to prison. And for anyone to criticize him, this is a man who... And look, I've debated with Dr. Peter Ventura on this radio program, like one caller called in. I'm not saying names. I'm not going to call anybody out tonight. But Dr. Peter Ventura did 28 years in prison for what he did. And you know what? He came out with a PhD, and he's working on his second PhD to help people not to do the things that he did. Just like I'm doing on this radio show. I'm giving everyone a voice on this radio program to talk. Back in my day, when I was 15 years old, 16 years old, all right, I was running around on the streets. And let me tell you, if someone threatened me back then, like I said, I had the manpower, I knew the right people, we would break their kneecaps, and that's not what I'm about today. And we did do those things. Me and I'm not going to name names because they're maybe not on this program, but family members, friends of mine. You know what friends of ours and friends of mine are? Okay, friends of mine. We did a lot of bad things years ago. But the thing of it is that we want to attack people, excuse me, on their past and not attack people on what they're doing today or what they plan on doing tomorrow. And that is one of the main problems of our country in which we live in today. I still have problems within my family. My poor grandmother in Connecticut is suffering from people within my family. And I don't want to hear lies. I don't want to hear crap. Because, listen, I know the truth. I know what's going on. And my great-grandparents, God rest their soul, today taught me these things when I was younger, but I didn't listen. You see? And what I'm trying to do is bring that knowledge to everybody out there today, because the generations of the past knew what was going to happen today, and they understood your future. And I'm not. What I'm trying to say is this: I'm not that same person I was years ago. However, I do believe in the Lord Jesus Christ, and I do believe, and we've proven that on this show many times, and I'm going to prove it about abortion. How God spoke about abortion in the Bible. I'm going to read a couple verses. There's no theys, thous, or that's, or whatnot that anyone can figure out. It's very simple and plain. And then we're going to make some phone calls on this radio show, and we're going to take callers. However, the last show there, we got a little hectic at the end of the show, and people got out of control. And if that's what this show is going to be about, I'll end it right now tonight. I will not carry on with this show anymore if that's what this show is going to be about. This show is about understanding the times in which you live in today. Everyone can disagree. Everyone can have their own opinion, and they can have their own emotional beliefs. But we have to go with the facts. We have to have a factual foundation. And the foundation of this country is the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. And I know I open up the phone line sometimes, and people, they just want to start yelling. And they want to start, like Angel Lady Love, she wants to talk about 30,000 different subjects. Look, you have knowledge in your head. You have knowledge of what's going on and what's happening, but focus. Do one thing at a time. I'm living with electricity. If you listen back to last week's show, at the end of the show, it was chaos. It was disorder. And I don't like to mute people. I always tell everyone that. I don't want to block people because that's not what this show is about. I'm not like other blog talk radio shows. I'm not like the corporate fake news, where you get 30 seconds of talk and they edit everything you say to what they want you to believe to see, and then they got to go to a commercial break. We're not like that. Look, throughout the I want to say this. On this show, and I realized this about 3 months ago, I'm the longest blog talk radio show host on Blog Talk Radio right now, the longest lasting blog talk radio show host. Should that not be something important to you out there? Doesn't the title that I came up with when I was on another show and someone told me, hey, you're very well spoken. Why don't you come up with your own radio show? What would you call it? And I called it Understanding the Times in Which We Live in Today. Don't you think that's a great title? Don't you think that's a great title on what we need to understand the times in which we live in today? I mean, and I've had people say, yeah, you're really smart, you're a good talker, you could sell ice cubes to an Eskimo. Well, you know what? I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm trying to give everyone a voice on a podcast radio show. I'm not like Hindsight Radio, a black racist radio program, which we're beating them right now in the chat room. Okay, I'm not gonna, that's what they are. They called me a cracker. They don't even know what a cracker is. What's a cracker? What are you talking about? We defeated Talk Real Solutions over the years. Talk Real Stupid. That's what Ben Delicon calls them. Talk Real Stupid, and they are. Because they want a race war in this country, and that's not what this country is about. Look, this country is more divided than any other time in history other than Abraham Lincoln, and we know what happened there, a civil war. 687,000 people in this country died fighting over what? Do you want to see that again? And that's why I'm doing this show. And the topic tonight, again, is abortion. But I just wanted to, reflect back on to what's happened over the past couple weeks. When I have guests on the program and I tell people, hey, we're going to have this guest on, this guest, that guest, I have to make a decision as a host who I'm going to have on the program. And when people from the Flat Earth Society call in and they start effing me and this and that, and you're a scumbag, this and that, I can't have them on. I'm sorry. I can't do that. But it doesn't mean that you, the guests that I invited onto the program, you, the callers, can't voice your thoughts, and that's all I'm trying to say here. However, you see, we as Americans don't live like the unincorporated Americans, the Mexicans, the Chinese, the Indians that come over here, the Japanese, the Russians that come over here. You see, because we as Americans, we have an ulterior agenda. It's all about me and what I'm going to better myself. Who cares about my brother? Who cares about my sister? And, who cares about what I can get out of someone else, because it's all about me. And if we as a people would unite and come together, even as individual families, and work together, no matter what you have to sacrifice, and if you have to sacrifice, look at what your founders sacrificed. They sacrificed their farms, their families, their livelihood, their sacred fortunes, so that you can have the freedoms that you have today. How many of you are willing to sacrifice that? You see the federal workers, they miss one paycheck, and oh my God, what are we going to do? 50% of the federal workers make $150,000 a year. 50% of them make more than what the private sector makes. 50% more than what the private 57.9% to be exact. They miss one paycheck, and they're all broke, and they're raiding the food banks. How disgusting is that? If you're that irresponsible as an American, you should be ashamed of yourself. Ashamed. You need to look in the mirror. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with poverty out there or people helping people, but federal workers, they all got their back pay today. Why aren't we reading on the corporate media how the federal workers are giving back to the food banks and all the people out there who gave to them when they were hungry? Serving them food at the airports, TSA workers, TSA. What the hell is TSA? Who violates your constitutional rights when you walk into an airport every single day? There's no boogeyman hiding underneath the airport security blanket, okay, folks? And maybe we'll get into that another time on another show. But tonight the show is abortion, and abortion is murder, and that's a fact. But it's so interesting how the Bible is so very plainly written. And I just want to read a couple verses, and then we're going to call a few agencies here and talk about this, and then I'll take callers. And if you don't have the time to listen for 2 hours because your Apple Android phone that's listening to everything you have to say and watching every move you make, and you need to take a selfie, then get lost. I don't care. I don't care, because this show will carry on. It will carry on. It's amazing how God knew about abortion before it even happened. Okay? It's amazing. Jeremiah 1:5. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you before you were born. I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. Jeremiah 1:5. Psalms 127, 3-5. Children are a heritage from the Lord, offspring a reward from Him. Like arrows in the hands of a warrior are children born in one's youth. Blessed is the man whose quiver is full of them. They will not be put to shame when they contend with their opponents in court. It's amazing how God knew about these things before they happened, isn't it? Genesis, the book of Genesis, oldest book in the Bible. Genesis 1:2-7. So God created mankind in His own image. In the image of God, He created them. Male and female, He created them. It's amazing, isn't it? Job 31-15. Did not he who made me in the womb make them? Well, let's repeat that again, the womb. What's the womb mean, folks? The womb. What does that mean? Let's read that one more time. Job 31:15. Did not he who made me in the womb make them? Did not the same one form us within our mothers? Within our mothers. Isn't that amazing how the Bible can answer what's happening today? There's no thous, thats, thits, that's in there. It's called rightly dividing the word. And you see, I've done that tonight, and I pulled these scriptures up for you people. Psalms 22:10. Again, from birth I was cast unto you. From my mother's womb you have been my God. Isaiah 49:15. Can a mother forget the baby at her breast and have no compassion on the child she has born? Though she may forget, I will not forget you. It's amazing. And there's many other verses. Many others. Isn't it amazing how God can answer these questions about abortion? It's amazing, isn't it? And I see callers on the line here tonight, and we're going to get to some callers here. Let's get to the callers. Just give me one more minute, and I know people get impatient and they hang up. But I want to get to the callers first, and then I want to make a crime report to the New York City Police Department, New York State. I want to make a Crime Stoppers report. After all, they give you this number for Crime Stoppers, right? Let's see if we can call Crime Stoppers after I get to the callers. I want to call Crime Stoppers. I want to know about the 87,325 babies that have been murdered in New York State since 2016. Can Crime Stoppers help me? Can they? Abortion is murder. And right now in this country, we are facing an epidemic that we have never seen before. Now in New York State, a mother can give birth to a child and kill it. And kill it. Why are you not up in arms today? Why are you allowing yourself to think this is a good thing? Why is not that governor in New York, that criminal corporate governor, that multi-millionaire scumbag, Governor Cuomo, being arrested for signing a bill to you? That's what they call it, a bill. It's not a law. It's a bill to you slaves. We've been over that thousands of times also. Arrested and put in handcuffs. Where is the republic? Where is our republic? Where are you? You should be ashamed of yourselves. No, I want to watch the Super Bowl on Sunday. Yeah, Patriots, Rams, yay! The Roman gladiators, yay! Right? The Vegas odds. Well, who's Vegas voting for? Oh, yeah. It's all about the money, isn't it, folks? It's all about the money. For the love of money is the root of all evil, says the Bible. Let's get to the first caller here. Maybe he disagrees with my topic here on abortion. Let's get to my first caller here from Florida, and we're going to go down the line here. And, of course, we're going to call the New York State Police tonight here live on the radio like I promised we will. And we're going to call Governor Cuomo's office, and we've got and that filthy Roman Catholic Church, another filthy group of people. Well, you know, it's okay if a mother has abortion. She's welcome into the church. Be merciful. Be merciful. Nowhere in the Bible does it say be merciful. There's only one way to Jesus Christ. There's only one way to salvation. Where does the Catholic Church get its crap from? The Pope on the rope. The Pope can't save you, Catholics. The Pope is not going to save you. And anyone wants to challenge me on that, I got my Bible sitting right here. Let's go verse for verse. Come on, Catholics. 657-383-0616. Come on, Catholics. Yeah. Go on Fox News joking around about abortion, drinking a cup of coffee. Yeah. We know the Vatican Church has $30 million paintings hanging on its walls. Meanwhile, it's the people in the Catholic Church are suffering. We know about the Roman Catholic Church, you criminals. You're all a bunch of criminals. You should be ashamed of yourself. First caller from Florida, go ahead. Let's see if you disagree about my opinion or my facts that I presented here tonight on abortion. Go ahead, caller, 386.
Hello. Hello, can you hear me?
I hear you. Go ahead.
You already know me, Joe, and you know that I disagree with you on abortion. Now, what if a woman gets raped? Is she not allowed to have an abortion? Of course. Why would she want to carry an illegitimate child or something like that?
An illegitimate child?
Now, wait a minute.
Can you define an illegitimate child? What's an illegitimate child? There's called something adoption. Adoption,
You're
right?
not going to allow me to speak now, are you? Now, what if she was gang raped? Not only that, I believe that a man and a woman, if they have she gets pregnant, and they both agree to an abortion, and they both agree that financially they can't handle it. Look at the world now. We've got so many babies that are born on the system that live off the government. I mean, did you pay for your child? No, you took it to a hospital that allowed for poor people. Now, come on. So that would be a burden off society right there. And if they both agree to it, what is wrong with that? If they both agree to it.
No. So if they both agree to kill their 2-year-old son, is that okay too? Because it's a burden on society. Is that okay too?
No, we're not talking. It's
not
born
not.
yet.
Well, what's the difference between a 2-year-old and a child that's in a mother's womb? Can you tell me that difference?
Yes, it hadn't come out of the womb yet, for one thing. It's not born.
It hasn't come out of the womb.
You don't get a birth certificate till you're born, do you? They don't give you a birth certificate when a woman gets pregnant, do they, Joe? No, they don't. So the baby is not a baby.
No, but they do an ultrasound, and they can see that baby in there with a head and a heartbeat and two arms and 2 legs.
Well, it's not a baby till it's a birth certificate, so if a man and a woman chooses to do it, I believe that they should have that right, if they both agree to it now.
Well, like I just told you, if a man and a woman, let's go a little more extreme. If a man and a woman say, hey, we lost our job, we have a 2-year-old son, let's kill him. Let's abort him. Let's get rid of him. Let's bury him in the backyard, right? Why not? It's a burden to society. That's what you said.
Why does most states have pro-choice, Joe? Why? Most states are for abortion. It's legal to have an abortion, and it should be. I totally agree with it. If a man and a woman agree to it, both of them agree we can't take care of this baby.
But I just asked you a question. If a man and a woman agree that their child is a burden to society, that's what you said. No, let me finish. I didn't interrupt you.
It's better than brutalizing a child when it is born.
No, hang on. Let me finish. You just said that if they're a burden to society, how could a child be a burden to society? Can you define what you said, please?
Well, because someone who can't afford to have a child goes to where you got a woman's hospital. Every city has one where you go and the government takes care of it, correct? Correct? It used to be in the old days.
What do you mean the government takes care of it? Wait a second here.
You had to pay for that hospital.
We're not talking about the government taking care of anybody. You said it's a burden to society. So it's not up to the man and woman. It's up to society. And if that child's a burden, therefore we need to elect politicians to have death panels. And you know what? What about an 85-year-old woman, 85-year-old man? They're a burden to society.
Could you imagine the growth?
Too, right?
Could you imagine the growth rate? Oh, God, we're already overpopulated. Could you imagine if we changed those laws? God Almighty,
what
we're
do you mean
already
we're overpopulated? No, you're changing the subject of population here. We're talking about abortion.
The population's going to grow.
You
ban abortion, it's going to grow. It don't have a choice but to grow. The population's going to grow.
No, you said a burden to society. You said a child is a burden to society. Then what the hell type of society do you live in where a child is a burden?
How much did it cost you to have your child? Tell the truth. Tell me the truth.
What do you mean, what did it cost me? I don't care what it cost me. It can cost me $12 trillion. I don't care what it cost me. I chose to have a child. I decided to have sexual relations with the woman I'm in, and you know what? And that was the choice I made. And so therefore, I need to be accountable and take care of that human being that was born from the mother's womb. That's what I have to do.
Go ahead to another caller, because I'm just going to listen now, because me and you are going to argue to disagree. So go ahead to another caller.
No, we're not arguing to disagree. The fact of the matter is, sir, is that what I'm trying to tell you is that, you know, all you liberals out there get up in arms if a puppy dog gets killed, but when a beating heart child gets murdered, it's okay. A child is born with a beating heart within 1 week of conception. It has a beating heart, okay? And if you're going to kill that heart and kill it, then you're a murderer. You're a murderer. And under God, I read to you, under God, the foundation
well, let's look up how much it costs to have a child now to have birth at the heart.
What do you mean, what does it cost? Who cares? You know what? They keep your legs closed.
A woman that doesn't have any money should care. I mean, but go ahead, call another.
It's all about the money, isn't it? It's always about the money. The money is the root of all evil, isn't it? It's always about the money. The money.
We're not going to agree on this.
You just made a great point.
Caller.
It's about the money.
Go ahead to another caller.
Yeah, I will. Let's get to a private caller here, and then we'll go down. Hang on, let's go to 336 here, and we'll go down the line here. Actually, 203 was waiting a little bit longer because I'm looking at the call times here. You know, the fact of the matter is abortion is murder, simple as that. And people need to really cue in on this. And you heard what the last caller said, a burden to society. Our children are a burden to society, a burden. Well, you know what? Maybe you're a burden to society. Maybe you are. Maybe we need to just kill everybody. You know, let's just kill each other. Why not? You know, I can't believe this. 203. Go ahead, 203.
Let Leroy go. He's got a phone call coming, and then I'll go.
Okay, let's go with 336 real quick here. All right, 336. Go ahead. 336.
Yeah, I
go
got
ahead.
a phone call. Yeah, I got you. I got a phone call coming in here normally every night about this time or right about this time, so I'm going to try to make it quick, but I'll still be listening. I just won't be able to speak. First of all, let's answer a few questions. A legitimate child. What is an illegitimate child? It's also known as a bastard. Okay, it's a child who's born to parents who are not married to each other or born out of wedlock. What does that mean? Does that mean the child should die? No. The definition of life is different amongst other people. I believe it's not so much the moment of conception, but maybe the moment there is a heartbeat, like you mentioned. And is abortion right? If in my personal opinion, if it involves the life of the mother, I'm not talking about a personal life, I'm talking about her living life, then something may have to be done. But one of the facts is, and this is a fact, is most fetuses after 24 weeks, when they're in the second trimester, fetal development, are now a 50% success rate to survive with no long-lasting, health concerns. So why would you kill a child 15 minutes after it was born? Because it doesn't have a birth certificate. Okay, what about, I don't know, say you was born in a tribe in the middle of Amazon, moved to the United States, and now you're 16. Because you don't have a birth certificate, your parents could kill you? Your rules on that are flawed considerably. It costs nothing to have a child if you ain't got the money to pay for it. They may bill you for it, but nobody's going to come take your child or take your house or take your car because you couldn't pay the hospital bill. That does not happen. And if you're poor and you're on Section 8, your child's free anyway. You're probably going to benefit from having a child. You're going to get $4,000 more a month in food stamps. So don't give me that, oh, she can't afford it crap. You know what she couldn't afford? She should have been able to afford to keep her damn legs shut in the first place. And then, guess what? They wouldn't be worried about aborting a child. What do we have to teach in abstinence? Buy a condom. Do something. Damn. Stay home. How's that sound? Then you ain't got to worry about getting knocked up. All right, I'm done.
Well, for once, I do agree with Leroy there. You're absolutely correct.
Hey, Joe, I got one more quick thing to add. I had a note on this, and I forgot it. All these feminists out there that are pro-this, pro-choice, pro all this, all for female rights and everything else, think of all the baby females they're killing now. Bunch of damn hypocrites. It makes me mad.
Well, that's a good point, actually. They're killing their female babies. Why not? Hey, they're hypocrites. You're absolutely right. Go ahead, Meriden, Connecticut, and then I got some other callers here that want to call in. And like I promised on the internet here, I want to make a crime report, to the New York State for the death of these 87,325 children, and I bet they'll laugh at me, but and I want to call. But go ahead, Bitbanker, go ahead.
Yeah, they will. Lucky they don't have you arrested. Well, Leroy's pretty much on topic there, and basically said everything that I wanted to say, but I wanted to say it a little bit differently, and I hope I say it correctly, and I don't really piss anybody off, but if I do, I do. And it sort of goes back to what I think Mandela Khan said a week or two ago, and I disagreed with him, that he wants to put, women in charge, females should be in charge. And like I said, we have Mexican workers here, and I'm the one that's making breakfast and coffee and feeding them all day long. There are no females bringing them anything to eat, not even their own wives who live next door. Matter of fact, they don't even talk to them. Maybe that's where the problem begins. Get off the cell phone, like you say. Like I said, this is going to come out wrong, and I don't mean it to come out wrong, but stop making yourself look so good, and try to make yourself look better from the inside, from a female's point of view. Instead of being lustful, make yourself wanted as a person. If that sort of came out right, and like Stephen from Florida said, there are so many single babies out there. Well, maybe that's one of the reasons why there's so many single babies, because they're all in the house doing nothing. Like Leroy said, keep your legs together. Stop going after the guys, and there wouldn't be any. But and also, if they are born, and like Leroy said again, there's food stamps, there's Section 8. The government is here to help you. The neighbors are here to help you. Your family's here to help you. It could be so much worse. How would you feel, if you could go out the door and get killed tomorrow, and wouldn't you rather have at least a child in the world to take your place, to look up and say, they took care of me and everything, they were good to me, there was a good mother, he was a good father, he did the best he could, and so on and so forth, rather than not having that. Because when it's gone, it's gone. You get old. But today's day and age, see, you couldn't say penis or vagina in the 50s and 60s. You couldn't even say that. Today's day and age, everybody knows what's going on with abortions, and things are different. People know better, and to be doing abortions on a whim, that's wrong. And there was one senator, I think it was from Massachusetts. I think she voted for abortions yesterday or today or sometime, and in the same breath she voted to save the life of a worm. What's wrong with these people? They're all bat crap crazies. But I'll let it go with that, and I'll listen to the rest of the show.
Well, thank you very much. And before I've got other callers on the line, so I've got a lot of callers on the line here tonight about this subject here. I'll give everyone their time, but I do want to call the New York State. I want to call the New York City Police Department and make a complaint. And after all peace officers are supposed to swear an oath to uphold the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, under God. And that's why we're going to put them on the spot live. And let's get to a private caller here real quick, and I'll move up the line. I promise everyone will get a voice here on this program like they always do. All you got to do is press the number 1, and you'll get a voice on this program. But let's get to a private caller, and then I'm going to call some people here like I promised to do on the Internet, because I got to keep my promise, and that's what's important. You know, I got to be a man of my word here. So go ahead, private caller. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yep, go ahead, private
Hello?
caller. Go ahead. Yep,
hey,
you're live. Go ahead.
Good evening, everybody. Mike from Wisconsin. All I want to say is, this show seems to be the catalyst of, of the central, kind of like a central neutral point, kind of like. And I understand people have their opinion. And that's fine. But I just can't see killing a life because you're fed up with it. It's bad enough we got to kill cows and chickens and goats and everything else just to be able to feed the world. And, bringing out this topic kind of waking people up a little bit. So what I'm trying to say is that sometimes we just need to be reminded that, not to do this stupid thing, but the right thing. And
you're absolutely correct, Mike from Wisconsin. I know Wisconsin, for all the callers around the country here that are listening tonight, how cold is it out in Wisconsin? Not to get off topic here. I bet it's pretty cold out there from what I'm seeing on the news media, actually. So what's the temperature out there right now where you're at in Wisconsin? I'm sure people would like to know. Just not to get off topic, but go ahead.
Last night, it was 32 below.
Wow.
And that was
how do you survive in that type of weather? I mean, what do you do? How do you go out? How do you go out and start your car? I mean, how do you survive? I mean, wind chills at 40 below, and that's crazy.
Everything has to be done slow, and if you go out, jump in your car, turn your fan on high, and jump out, you might have a big cracked windshield when you get back in.
And a lot of people around the country don't understand that, actually. And you guys in the Midwest, though, you are some tough son of a guns to go through that cold weather. I know down here in North Carolina, we'd have drunks laying in the ditch, being thawed out in the springtime. If we got to 20 below, but. It gets below 32 degrees here. Everyone's walking around with earmuffs and hats. 32 degrees out there in Wisconsin. You guys are walking around in shorts.
I got a little story about cold. You want to hear a little story about cold with me and Leroy? Me and Leroy were moving somebody up to northern Vermont one year. I was driving a little tiny Toyota pickup truck loaded with plants, and there was heaters in the back for the plants so they wouldn't die. And my stepbrother was driving an 18-foot big U-Haul loaded to the max. And up in northern Vermont, north of St. Johnsbury, the truck broke down, the Toyota, and he had to pull us with the big 18-footer that was already loaded, that already had people in the front seat. And I was wearing just a shirt, not even a coat. And he pulled us on a 10-foot tow rope. Now, a 10-foot tow rope between that truck and the Toyota in minus 24-degree weather, covered with snow and ice, it's like no room at all, and that was a terrifying experience.
That's good. That's a good story, Bitbanker. But again, the topic here tonight is abortion, And we've heard from a pro-choice individual from Florida. Obviously, I got to categorize him as a pro-choice individual who says children that are born or in the mother's womb, while they're in the process of being birthed with a heartbeat should be terminated because they could be a burden on today's society. And that's the thinkers. That's the way people think today.
I do
and that's
know
absolutely disgusting.
People that has babies that need some diapers. Are y'all willing to throw out some money for some diapers?
No. It's not up to us to provide for any. No. Hang on. Now you're getting into socialism here. All right, we're talking about abortion.
That's what she does is steal them. She steals her diapers because the government don't pay for that.
So we have to pay for
everything
another mother's diaper. Hang on. So because a mother who wanted to go be a harlot or a Jezebel on Green Street, or like here in Greensboro, North Carolina, who wanted to act like a Jezebel. Okay, and we know what Jezebel means in the Bible, if you read the Bible, okay, who wanted to go out and go have sex with a guy and got pregnant, okay, that's a mistake. It shouldn't have happened. So, therefore, let's kill the unborn child, the child with a heartbeat after the first 2 weeks. Let's kill it because it's going to be a burden to me. It's going to be, and we're not talking about society because you know what? Society has no obligation to take care of other people's children.
If you can't make your
right.
6 weeks, then you need to have it. If you can't make that decision.
So how do you determine that 6 weeks? Well, is that your personal opinion? 6 weeks?
That's my personal opinion. That's all that is.
Okay. Well, let me tell you. After 6 weeks, the child already has a head and 2 arms, and already is growing a penis or a vagina. And when you go in, and have you ever watched an abortion when that baby is in there being cut up and chopped up by a doctor? Because it's an inconvenience to the mother who wore a mini skirt on such and such a night at a club and decided to have sex with some guy she probably didn't know. So therefore, we got to kill an innocent baby. Shame on you.
Have you ever seen an abortion survivor?
Shame on you.
They're popping out every day. That's
well, let them pop out every day because it's a life. And you know what? That life maybe one day
she needs
can
some
do
diapers,
something
Joe.
maybe to help you. You
diapers.
socialist.
You know who I'm talking about. Will you help her out?
I know. You're worried about the money. You're worried about the money because you don't want to pay for anything. I already know. You already stated that.
Actually, they do provide diapers.
I've been buying diapers. I have been buying for a baby that I love.
Give you another analogy. I took my car. I took my car out the other day around the block. I took my car out around the block the other day, and I hit this other guy, and he called the cops. And the cops came up to me. He says, "You know what? Ain't nothing. Don't worry about it. Keep going." I went down the street, and I went into the post office, and you know what? I stole their thing off the countertop. And the guy says, "Don't worry about it. It's okay. That's the problem. Go out and get pregnant. Don't worry. It's okay. We'll take care of it."
That's right. And I don't know who's on the line here. I am muted. I think my friend here, Brother Mercy's on the phone line here, and I'd like to hear if he wants to choose to participate. That's okay. If not, then that's fine. But I want to know what his opinion is on abortion. And we got a lot of callers on the line. I will get to everybody. I promise. I always do.
What do you think of the day after pill?
Well, it's like let's put a condom machine in every bathroom in America. You know what?
Yeah.
Kamala Harris will pay for it, right? Kamala Harris from California. She'll make sure it's taken care of. Let's put a condom machine in every bathroom in America.
The day after pill, Joe. That's another way. That's another way for contraception. Is the day after pill. That's only one day after. That hasn't had time to do nothing yet. I can understand maybe that. But, the morning after pill or whatever they call it, it's still a lot cheaper and a lot easier to get a damn condom, or just don't do it to start with.
Oh, yeah, Leroy, that's a good point. What happened to morality? Where's the moral foundations of this country? Let's have sex with a woman, and she says she has the morning after pill. Okay, let's just be all immoral. Let's have sex with everybody. Let's hump trees. Let's have sex with horses and dogs. Hey, why not? And let's have sex with women, and and then the morning after pill is great. But I agree with you though. The morning after pill is a good idea, but at the same time, we're dealing with human immorality here in this country, and that's the problem.
And there's also enough STDs going around.
But I don't know if anyone else wants to chip in here in the conversation here on abortion.
Yeah, I was going to say real quick.
All right, go ahead, Brother Mercy. Thank you for joining us tonight. I appreciate your time. Go ahead, Brother Mercy.
Yeah, I was going to say that, there's plenty of options to consider instead of abortion. You can do adoption. You can do, you can have a family raising your child. I mean, there's plenty of children up for adoption, and they get adopted parents that want. There are a lot of parents that want children that can't have children. So, that child can be, given to a foster parent. And to someone who wants to have a child, so that's a viable option for someone who, after the fact. But like you said, you did come up with some preemptive things like contraceptives, which that's before the fact. But in the event of after the fact, you do have options. You don't have to do an abortion. And really, I don't agree with the government paying for abortions or subsidizing the cost for abortions, and I think that but then if the government don't, then they'll go to black market like a lot of people do. So I don't think it's going to stop it. But at the same time, I just don't agree with abortions, and I don't think pro-choice is really pro-choice. I think it's pro-abortion because, I mean, how can you give another person a choice over a life? I mean, that don't even make sense. You can't give somebody a choice over a life that did nothing wrong. So I think that they should have the child, and then you have options. You can legally get a child up for abortion to parents that want to raise children. So there are different options. I'm just saying. To consider, it doesn't have to end with with an abortion. But I just feel there's so many abortions going on now. I mean, it's so many millions and millions. It's just got out of proportion, and I think it needs to slow down. So I mean, that's just my opinion. I don't think it should be subsidized by the government. The government should have to pay for it, and I wouldn't want it to go to black market, but that's what's going to happen. If the government don't subsidize it for safety reasons, it's going to go to the black market.
And Brother Mercy, real quick, before I get that 909 and I move up the line here of many callers here on the phone line here tonight about this very important topic that I'm going to tackle many times on this show in the future, because I'm dead set against abortion like you are, obviously. What do you think about New York state law that a mother can give birth to a child and then terminate that child after birth? Isn't that disgusting?
Well, I mean, you got to understand, I mean, it's not unrestricted. It's under certain circumstances. It's not an unrestricted abortion. It's under certain restrictions.
I disagree with something like that. There's no way it should be.
Hang on, let Brother Mercy finish his point. Let Brother Mercy finish his point, because I know you're pro-choice and you believe in abortion. So just let Brother Mercy finish his point, and then I'll bring on another caller. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's not unrestricted. It's only under special circumstances, and I think that's the part that people are not talking about. It's not legal just to do it. It has to be under, like, I guess if she was raped or if it's death, she's about to die or something, to save the mother's life, because what would happen most times, the mother just give birth and die. So, I mean, I think it's under special circumstances. It's not just unrestricted. I know that's part of the bill. It says it's not just unrestricted. You can't just, okay, I want an abortion at the last minute. No, it's under special circumstances. I mean, not.
Well, no, actually, New York State law states, actually under the New York bill, that Governor Cuomo, it's the right of the woman to choose to terminate the pregnancy, and whether or not, and she's very eligible, whether she says it's psychological, financial, or whatnot, to terminate that baby even at the time of birth. That's what the bill actually says. I don't have the bill in front of me to read it in front of everybody, but that's what the big controversy is right now. And Virginia tried to do the same thing, and it was shot down, thank God. But, and then we have people like Florida, the gentleman from Florida that called in. Look, abortion is murder. I already said after 1 to 2 weeks, that child has a heartbeat. And we're willing, and we all get up in arms over a heartbeat over a puppy dog or a cat that's run over, but yet a child, it's okay. And I read one of the numbers from New York State, 87,325 abortions were committed in 2016 in New York State in 2016 alone. And 72,000 of them were during the third trimester. The third trimester, the baby has arms, legs, can feel pain, has a heartbeat, and this is what I'm standing up against on this radio program, Brother Mercy. But I do appreciate your call, and I want you to stay on the line. I want to get to another caller here, 909. And, of course, I'm going to call, like I said, before time runs out, I want to call and report a crime here and see what they have to say. That should be very interesting, actually. But 909, go ahead. You're live. Thank you.
Hello.
909.
Good evening, Joseph. Hello.
How you doing? Thank you. Well, welcome back to the program. Thank you.
Thank you for taking my call. From the point of conception, is it human? Is what's growing human? Whether it has a heartbeat or not, is it human? It's not a duck. It's not a bee. It's not a cow. It's not anything else. It's human. End of story. So aborting it, because they say, well, it's nothing. It's not a baby, but it's human. It sure as hell is. And then on another note, on an alternative thought, or on the other hand, I say have at it, because eventually they'll go extinct, and then we won't have to worry about people being, the morality of it, because there won't be any of it, because they'll have aborted themselves to death, aborted themselves to extinction. Go ahead, knock yourselves out.
Well, thank you so much. You're absolutely correct. They will, actually. I've got other callers on the line. I do, and I promise I'll get to you. But I've got to keep my promise on the internet. And you're right. They're going to abort themselves to extinction. That's what we're going to do here, And you're right. It's a human being from the date of conception. It really is.
Hey, Joe.
Go ahead.
You ever notice that everyone who's for abortion has already been born?
Good one.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But anyway, what I want to do is keep my promise here. I want to make a couple calls, and then I'll get to the rest of the callers here. And this is a very, I just want to say this. We as a people allowing the murder of a human being, and the caller from Florida. I'm not trying to criticize the caller from Florida, but he said that the child will be an inconvenience. That's what he said. Inconvenience. It'll be a burden, actually, his exact words, a burden on society. How could a child be a burden on society?
I say
if we as a people. Go ahead, ma'am.
Sorry.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just saying is as far as that goes, well, the person having that baby aborted is a burden on society because we're having to pay for it. So what does he say to that?
That's right. You're right. Planned Parenthood is funded by your Federal Reserve notes today, actually. So you're paying for that. Everyone's paying for that abortion one way or the other, whether it's a gas tax or a tax on the clothing you buy or whatnot. You're absolutely correct. Everyone's paying for it today. And that was done so through Obamacare and whatnot, and that's a whole nother subject. But, but just to label children as a burden on society, innocent children, give life a chance. Yeah. It's disgusting, man. It really is. Well, I want the callers to just stay silent, and I'm going to make a phone call here. I'm going to do this. I'm losing my voice here. I've been talking to people all day about this subject, and and that's what I do because this show is important, and it's called Understanding the Times in Which You Live in. But let me call this number and let's report a crime here. Let's see what's happened. Let's see if they can take my call. Maybe not.
You have
Who knows?
reached the 1st Precinct of the New York City Police Department. If you have an emergency, please hang up and dial 911. If
Sure, I
this is
will.
a non-emergency, such as a noise complaint, you may call 311 or select from the following options.
Uh-oh.
For a report number, press 1. For the detective squad, press 2. For community affairs, press 3. For the domestic violence officer, press 4. For special operations, press 5. Or to reach the telephone switchboard operator, press 0. To hear these options again, press 9.
Okay. Let's see if they
Wait
connect
while I
us
transfer
here.
your call.
Yeah, you transfer. Here we go. Let's see if we get somebody. And then we're going to call the Lieutenant Governor of California, actually.
Yeah. One day, Sergeant Carvalho.
Hey, how you
Hello?
doing, Sergeant? How you doing? I'm speaking Sergeant Carmela, correct?
Carvalho. How may I help you, sir?
Carvello, I'm sorry. I apologize for that. And you're a New York City police officer in the 1st Precinct, correct?
Yes, sir. This is New York City Police Department. What do you need?
What do I need is I'd like to report a crime. Actually, the murder of 87,325 children in New York State. And you did swear an oath to uphold the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, sir, as a sergeant. I want to know why Governor Cuomo signed the latest bill there to terminate pregnancy
That
after
is something
birth.
you have that is something you have to take up with Albany, sir. That is something that the state police would handle.
The state police,
And the
but,
governor,
but you're a sergeant with the 1st.
So what do you? But I can't go into Albany and make an arrest. That's not my general area of employment, sir. And if it's a law already signed into the books, I can't do it unless it's appealed.
Yeah, I know, but a law that's
The
already
penal
signed
code,
in the books
the penal code has changed, and I can't do anything about it.
All right. So therefore, your oath that you swore to uphold the Constitution against all enemies and foreign and domestic does not apply here. Correct? Is that what you're saying?
Well, the 10th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution states that every state is sovereign as well, and they can also come up with their own constitutions and rules. So if you object to the rules and regulations in the Constitution of New York State, that is something that you would have to take up to your local state representative to bring up to the governor, and then they would have to convene to see if they're going to try the governor or remove him. But that's something you have to do if you object with the law. I can't do it. I can't do that as a municipal police department. Do you understand?
Okay.
So you keep quoting the Constitution. You quoting the Constitution, but I uphold the Constitution, correct? And the Constitution has the 10th Amendment, which gives the enumerated powers of each state. So what do you want me to do? Violate the Constitution because you want me to go after the governor?
No, I want you to enforce the law of your state.
Okay. The state changed the law, and changed the penal code, and changed the rules, So I can't do anything. I'm bounded by the law. And the U.S. Constitution gives the enumerated powers of the state, so I have to abide by that as well, which is the highest law of the land.
Actually,
correct?
Shelby versus State actually does state that any unconstitutional law passed by the representatives of the state in the Union says that it's unconstitutional, actually.
Okay, well, the Supreme Court ruled Roe v. Wade to be constitutional, sir, so what do you want me to do?
But the Constitution, but the Supreme Court does not make the law of the land. Okay.
No, the Supreme Court. Listen, sir. The Supreme Court interprets every law that is called into question, and then once they make a ruling on a law, it becomes it's legal. So it's already been checked and balanced already.
The United States Supreme Court did not rule on that actually.
On Roe v. Wade, it did. Yes. If you want to, then I would suggest you sue the government of New York State. You sue the governor. It's well within your rights. In the U.S. Constitution, it says that you can bring up lawsuits of any damage over the value of $20. You do that, bring that lawsuit, and then see if it goes to the highest court of the state, which is the New York State Court of Appeals. And if it goes beyond that, it could even make it to the Supreme Court. So I suggest you do that. Okay.
But do you agree with me on one subject that rights come from God, not from the state? Correct.
I can't.
Am I correct?
Listen, as a New York City police sergeant wearing the seal of the city, I cannot comment on anything personal or whether I agree with you or not. You understand? I represent all the people of New York City, so I can't give you one way or the other. Okay.
But do you agree that rights come from God,
if you respect oaths. I took an oath to represent all the people of the city of New York. My shield is not mine. It belongs to the shield. It's the shield of the city. It belongs to the people of New York.
You took an oath to uphold the Constitution.
No, I understand that, but okay, I understand that, but I have to keep an oath, and also I can't be biased one way or another. Okay, so I'm not going to answer your questions on that. I gave you the best answer I can give you. If you're not satisfied with the answer, I'm sorry.
Can I just let you know that you're live on a radio show right now? So I just want to let you know that you're live on a radio show. It's called blogtalkradio.com, Understanding the Times in Which You Live in Today.
Okay.
And you answered my question. Therefore, you as a corporate citizen or a corporate police officer does not believe that rights come from God other than the state.
Okay, sir. I'm going to let you go now. I have work to do. All right?
I'm sure you will.
You have yourself a good evening.
All right. Thank you. You have a good night, sir. Be safe. You see, folks, they don't care about you. They don't care about you at all. They don't care, and he's trying. He wouldn't let me talk at all. He already knew my badge says this, and I represent the New York City Police Department, the seal of my department, the seal of my department. Yeah, I don't represent the people of this country. I don't represent the people of my state. I represent the politicians. And he's quoting to me about the Constitution. Here I have a citizen rule book that quotes the Constitution, actually, and what law is. And I quoted to him a Supreme Court case, actually, and he just kept talking and talking and talking. But that's what they do, folks. And these are your representatives, your corporate representatives that you obey by because you're the slave. He just admitted that to you. You're a slave, and you will obey him. Okay? Yeah. Can I call the governor's office? Can I call the governor's office and get answers like he said? Can I? Because he told me, I should contact the governor. Sue the governor. Sue the governor for what? Sue the governor and get him removed? How can I do that in a corporation? How can I do that through the District of Criminals? How can I do that? Hire a criminal lawyer?
Come on. But hang
on, I have the governor's office, and Sergeant, what was his name, Carmelli, or whatever, whatever. We'll play it back in archive. We'll get it back again. But that was the first precinct from New York City, and that's what we do on Blog Talk Radio. And as you can see, I was trying to report a crime, and he would hear nothing of it. And he's a police officer in the state of New York. I was trying to report a crime. Roe versus Wade. The Supreme Court doesn't make the law of the land. The Supreme Court doesn't write the laws of this land. It does not. Go back and look at the Constitution. Who writes the laws of this land? if we're a republic. And we've been over this many times in the past. What is a republic and what is a democracy? Okay? And what is the District of Criminals? We've been over this. I've had guests on from the republic who explain the law graphs to you, explain the law to you very clearly. What is the de facto system and what is the de jure system? What is a United States corporate system? What is an American citizen? What is a United States corporate citizen? What is a United States American citizen? There's a big difference, folks, a big difference. But he wouldn't let me speak. He spoke very quickly, though, and he was a robot like they train him to be, and he will electrocute you, kidnap you, and he will haul you off to their warehouse called a prison, and he will lock you up because he's going to do what he's told, just like the Nazis, you know, in the Nuremberg trials. What did they say? We were just following orders. We were just following orders. That's not going to cut it anymore, folks, and it's not going to cut it on Blog Talk Radio, Joseph Gibson, understanding the times in which we live in today. It's not going to cut it. I'm sorry. That don't cut it. I'm just doing what I'm told, right? No.
Well, Joe,
what
you're
did I ask
right
that gentleman?
Joseph.
He swore an oath to uphold the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Did I not ask him that question? Did I not, folks?
But Joseph,
you did.
Like I said,
go ahead, Brother Mercy. Go ahead.
Well, like I said before, Joseph, I really don't think you understand my point. I made this a long time ago. There's more. You keep talking about the Constitution like it's only one. Each state has their own Constitution. And in that regard, he was right. Each state is sovereign. They have their own laws. This is why we had a civil war, because states had their own constitutions before you had the United States. Because you had states with their own constitution. Because you had states that existed prior to the United States.
Yeah,
so
but what if those, Brother Mercy, but what if those laws are unconstitutional? What if those laws are unconstitutional?
They can't
sue the governor? Yeah, right.
They can't be
that's right. Our Constitution of the United States trumps the state constitution. That's why they're having problems with the marijuana laws, is because states can say we're legalizing it, but it's still against federal law. And so the feds can still come in and confiscate and lock you up because it's against federal law.
Only if it's on federal property.
No, federal law always trumps local or state law.
Down here.
And I could give you a quick example, break it down to even a smaller level. If you got an HOA, a homeowners association. The homeowners association says you can't have this, but you have a federal license to have this. They can't stop you from having that because federal law trumps over all other laws.
Right. But also you got to remember that we also have a thing that if it's a bad law, we don't have to observe it. And so that officer didn't know that basically if it's a bad law, then he doesn't have to observe it. And that goes
caller 909. Actually, you're absolutely right. If it's an unlawful order, they have the duty to disobey that unlawful order. Correct?
Yes. That's yep.
If they're arm of the state, they're considered arm of the state, though. Law enforcement are considered arm of the state.
That goes for any law.
That goes for any law. Any law that is unconstitutional is null and void, and does not. And you got to remember the foundations of this country is the Constitution of the United States. And and I know we have a bad history in this country with slavery and treating people.
Virginia has a Commonwealth law. The state of Virginia has a Commonwealth law that is different than. Like one of the gentlemen talked about, each state has their own. I don't know if it's their own constitution, but the state of Virginia has a Commonwealth law, and I don't. What is the difference between that and another state? I do not know. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer.
Well, see, the Commonwealth states, Virginia's considered a Commonwealth state, and a Commonwealth state basically is the states that were under British law. They were colonized by the British. And that's it's just an old term to refer to the British that had control over them.
Exactly. There's two of them. What's the other one? Is it Connecticut or is it Delaware?
It's more than two. It's probably like 4 or 5. I mean, it's not that many, but
Pennsylvania. It's either Pennsylvania or Philadelphia, one of those two.
Yeah, Pennsylvania. You're absolutely correct. Pennsylvania is one of them. You're absolutely right. A Commonwealth state, they call it. A Commonwealth state, actually. Yes.
Yes, I know that for sure. But
Massachusetts.
That's why you got
Massachusetts is a police
I think
state.
he's right.
We know
I
that.
think he's right.
That's why you got state.
I got them all right here.
I've got other callers on
Kentucky,
the line
Massachusetts,
here.
Pennsylvania, and Virginia.
You know what? You know who I wanted to call live on the line here tonight? I wanted to call California. Actually, it may be too late now to do that. I wanted to call the Lieutenant Governor's office. I don't know if I'll get it. If I get a voicemail, I'll hang up. But I want to call Kamala Harris' office too. I had her number down. It may be too late to do that because I wanted to ask one of her constituents how she intends to pay for health care for all by taxing the rich, and I wanted to do that. And that maybe we'll do that in the future. But let me try calling the Lieutenant Governor's office in California here real quick. I got some questions for them, so let's try calling them. Maybe we'll get somebody. If I don't, I'll just hang up. Probably going to get nobody. We'll see.
Voicemail.
Yeah, that's probably what I'll get, but we'll see here. I'll hang up after 2 more rings. Actually, let's see here. Kamala Harris. I want to talk to her campaign office there. That's what I want to talk to. I had the numbers ready here, but all right, we'll just hang up from them. We'll just cancel that call there. They're not answering because it's about what? It's 8:52 here on the East Coast, so it's 3 hours. It's 5:52 there. So they're probably already at their fancy restaurants eating and laughing at all of us right now. Excuse me. But let's get to another caller here. Mandela Khan here. Let's let him speak for a couple minutes. I'll try to, and then we'll get some closing thoughts from everybody. I hope everyone remains on the line here because everyone deserves closing thoughts. But the main topic here was abortion. And, this really bothers me, this topic of abortion. It really does. It's murder. I read biblical verses in the beginning of the show that proves it's murder. If you believe in God, if you don't, but it's murder. And if you believe in science, science even proves that these unborn children are they feel the pain. These doctors go in there with a knife and cut the baby up. Have you ever watched an abortion? Have you ever watched it? It pains me to watch it, but I force myself to watch several of them on YouTube, and it was quite disgusting. To watch a baby get its fingers chopped off, its hands chopped off, its feet chopped off, and then its neck slashed. And that's what doctors do. And that's while it's in that's an abortion. Now, after birth, according to New York state law, they can kill the baby. They can kill the baby after birth. I mean, imagine that. I mean, what would you do as a human being? How would you imagine yourself as a child having your neck slashed open and your fingers chopped off? I mean, how barbaric have we become as a society? Isn't that disgusting? Why are we even having this conversation? How sick have we become in society today, where the baby is a burden to society? Because we all know money is more important than a human life, but we can all go out to the clubs at midnight and have sex and a man gets a woman pregnant, and that was a mistake, so let's kill the baby. How sick are we? I mean, think about that. Just think about that. Your own selfish needs as a man or a woman, for that matter, to create a human life and then kill it because it's a burden to society. It's a burden to you. For God's sake, what the hell have we become? What have we become in America to believe that type of belief, to think it's okay to kill a human life? We get more upset if a dog gets run over in the middle of the road.
Don't forget to send Mallory some diapers now. That's what you texted me earlier.
Yeah, we'll buy all the women out there using drugs who want to spend money on drugs
diapers
instead of buying diapers. Okay? Anyway, let's get to another caller here. Press the number 1 if you want to come onto the program. I'm losing my voice actually from talking about this issue. Let's see here. Let me go down the line here. I know there's another caller here waiting. Mandela Khan, he's a supporter of the show. I know many people don't like what he talks about, but I'm going to give him 3 minutes. And then I'm going to give everybody some closing thoughts here before the show ends. And this is a very important subject to me. I could never imagine my 2 children after birth being hacked up by a doctor. Should be ashamed of ourselves. We really should be. Imagine. I just can't imagine it. It's just disgusting, and we need to keep fighting. We really do. And I invited pro-life people onto the program. I did it on short notice, so I apologize for that. But we'll do a follow-up show on this topic, and we'll get the private callers here. I promise. Every caller will get a voice here before the show wraps up. Mandela Khan, you're going to get 3 minutes. 3 minutes, and that's it. Go ahead.
Abortion, according to the producer, of understanding the signs of the times in which we live in today in the USA. I'm opposed to Joe Gibson, my brother of the People's Revolution, because of his terminology, abortion. And on behalf of the Ethiopian matriarch, everybody, abort, abort, abort. And I have the testimony to show you why I'm the greatest man ever born in the history of the United States of America. You got to think not micro under Joe Gibson, but macro under Mandela Khan, under the creator that is the creator of the whole human planet, not the Confederate flag or the red, white, and blue of the United States of America under the Eagle and Uncle Sam. The common law court, we have a court. The court is Class Action 567, which I represent. And understanding the times in which we live in today, there are a plethora of new people on the line who never spoke, and not the usual suspects under Joe Gibson, as Big Banger, Brother Mercy, whoever, the women. They never spoke about the total recall of the common law court, the supreme law of this land. And as everyone likes to uphold the Constitution, the Declaration of the Bill of Rights in the United States of America, you are in serious trouble because you know that in 6th and Market Street, that is where the people's government lives. And you know Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, that's where the Supreme Court of the people, by the people, for the people in which we live. And because I'm the secure party, I can help you remember what Joe Gibson will only give me a few minutes to tell you. And I don't give a damn what Joe Gibson tells you about God, country, and the United States of America. The Creator is the creator of the whole human planet. So Joe Gibson, my brother, is the people's bloodless revolution, from the Confederate flag to the red, white, and blue. I know there's a plethora of people who are listening, and none of his usual suspects, including himself, will bring other people to the table. Because he brought up abortion, I can bring up the cardinals, the bishops, the monsignors, and the popes. From the Pope and the Roman Catholic Church to the King of England. And all of the nuns under Margaret Sanger, Planned Parenthood, and birth control, the nuns will tell you that none of those cardinals, bishops, and monsignors were celibate. They raped the nuns, and they aborted the babies and buried them under the goddamn cathedrals. Do you understand what I'm telling you? So when you're talking about abortion, and I've taken to Margaret Sanger, I will bring nuns to the table of understanding the sign of which we live in today, and they will tell you that no cardinal, bishop, and monsignor, no senator, those ministers, those pastors, those no good bastards, they love breast, thighs, and wings that wasn't on a chicken, and in their own books, under the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, it said that whatever man is at the pulpit, podium, telephone, or microphone, he gets first right to every wing, breast, and thigh, including your little girls and little boys. Everyone under religion, you know, from the pontiff, cardinals, bishops, and monsignors. And I will bring nuns to the goddamn table to tell you what I'm talking about, the abortions and under cathedrals. Whoever a man speaking at the pulpit, podium, telephone, or microphone, he gets first right to every breast, thigh, and leg. And if her sexual organs don't have hair on it and she's not a grown woman, you can wax and shave all you want. But you know, if your little girl or your little boy or your little chicken that has a breast, a thigh, and a leg, the cardinal, bishop, and monsignor, the sinister, Christ Jesus sinister, the sinister, the pastor, the no good bastard, they, according to the books of the dead, say that they get first rights to have access to a unshaved, unleavened woman or child. Isn't it extraordinary that in the abortion, same-sex marriage, Adam and Steve and Mary and Eve, today, the Bible told the Quran, Hebrew Israelites, Moors, Muslims,
all right,
and
Mandela
Christians.
Khan, 30 seconds, please.
Okay, your books speak of Adam and Eve. But because of Barack Insane Obama and Donald Trump, his wife is a sexual revolutionist, but a man won Woman of the Year just a couple of years ago, and now our children have to be taught in America's social standard. Our children have to be taught how to give each other oral sex and sodomize each other. Adam and Steve is not recorded in no Bible, Torah, and Quran. Adam and Steve is not a part of the Hebrew Israelites, Moors, Muslims, and Christians. It is a part of the Greek, Roman, illegal alien European invaders who trespassed and used Barack Insane Obama, to authorize
all right, Mandela Khan,
same-sex marriage and abortions. I don't give a damn what Margaret Sanger brought forth. Margaret Sanger is a part of a system, and her system where abortions is authorized in America is not in most European communities. They're in the African, Latino, they're in the poor people's communities, as they are all over the world, but it's all over today. I love each and every one of y'all, and I hate that I can bring this truth to you, and I love it. Don't you? That only one man could bring this truth to you, that the nuns will tell you that there is not a cardinal, bishop, monsignor that was celibate, and they authorized abortions to all the nuns who they raped. They raped the goddamn nuns, and I can prove what I'm saying.
Okay, all right, Mandela Khan, all right. Yep. We know they did rape the nuns, and a lot of people have been raped. But I want to give everyone some closing thoughts here. Like George Washington said, Government is not reason. It is not it is not eloquence. It is a force like fire. It is a dangerous servant and a fearful master. And that's what George Washington said. And if we fear our government today, and the topic of the show was abortion and the murdering, and like I called the New York City Police Department, New York State. I didn't get a chance to call the governor's office, but we'll continue to do that on this show. Where I want to call Kamala Harris. We're not going to do a show on Sunday. I'm not going to compete with the Roman gladiators. Everyone's going to be watching the Super Bowl. 100 million people will be watching.
Forget Oprah Winfrey. Forget Michelle
Hang on,
Obama.
All right.
Harris.
Hang on. I gave you a chance to speak. Hang on now. I want the order on the show here. Okay. I'll give you your own show like I've done in the past, but I want to keep order on the show here and not talk over each other or argue. I am the host of the program, and we did have a good discussion tonight about abortion. And I wish I would have had more time to call more people live on the show like I did promise on the internet. But time permitting, I was unable to. I wanted to call the Catholic Church also, the phonies that they are. But, I want to give everyone some closing thoughts here about abortion, the murdering of innocent babies across this country. Everyone argues first trimester, second, third. When a child is conceived, it's a human life that is created by a man and a woman. And for anyone to say, I have a decision to terminate that life is murder. Simple as that. Okay? It's creating a human life, a man and a woman who come together, whatever the cause may be, or however they come together, they create a human life together. That's obvious, and it's disgusting that human life should be terminated because it's a burden on people. Shame on anyone for thinking that or believing that. That really is a shame. And that was one of the points I wanted to bring to tonight's program, because a human life is more important than anything, whether what we believe, what our thoughts believe, what our emotions believe. It's a fact. It's a human life. And to kill a human life without just cause or just because it's a burden, like the caller from Florida said, is disgusting. It really is. And look how far we have fallen as a society, really, to believe something like that. Really, we need to really dig deep down in our soul and our conscience and really look at ourselves in the mirror. And like I said, do your own research. Watch an abortion performed. Watch it. Watch that baby's fingers be cut off. Imagine that poor little baby screaming in pain in its mother's womb. That is how could we sit idly by and allow that to happen as a society? In a society where we have so much today. It's disgusting. And the New York police officer said Roe versus Wade. Roe versus Wade is an unconstitutional law. It's murder. Murder. And it's an unlawful law. And the Supreme Court does not tell us what the law of the land is. The Supreme Court only interprets the case law. And if it's unconstitutional, it's null and void. Do your research, folks. All right, let's go down the line of the callers here. I want to give everyone a chance to have some closing thoughts about abortion. I don't want to talk about 30 different other subjects. We're talking about abortion. A very important show here that's going to be archived on blogtalkradio.com/Joseph Gibson. And we'll address it more in the future. I promise we will. Let me go down the line here. 336 Leroy, if you want to have a couple minutes here to talk, and then I'll go down the line here, and then everyone can have some closing thoughts.
Yeah, okay.
I know I had a private
I'm
caller
give you two
that
websites,
pressed one.
man.
I'll get to them too, I promise. Go ahead,
Can you hear
Leroy.
me?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna give you two websites to use. This is two websites real quick to write down. This is how you talk to people. All the hard work has been done for you. You want to talk to somebody at a company, an organization, or something like that. Write these two websites down. You can put who you want to talk to or what company in the search bars or look them up. One is called gethuman.com, and the other one's called dialahuman.com. And you just put what you're looking for in there, and you still might get an automated thing, but there'll be an option at least there to talk to somebody. Now back on tonight's topic. Fetal viability, all right? At 21 weeks and less, this is all according to statistics. At 21 weeks and less, it's at 0% chance rate for it to survive. Now, whether they're not really reporting it or not because people are screaming, you're creating a test tube baby or whatever, I don't know. But at 22 weeks, the chance grows up almost to 10%. At 23 weeks, now we're only talking 2 weeks here, it jumps up to 35%. At 24 weeks, 40 to 70%. At 25, 50, 80, 26, 80 to 90, 27 weeks, over a 90% chance of living a normal life. Okay, so then it just keeps going on and on and on and up from there. There's no sense of getting every damn week. The first quote I gave you earlier was a quote from someone I know you like, was Ronald Reagan. I've noticed that everyone who is for abortion has already been born. He made that quote. And I'm going to end my talk time tonight, my last minute here, just telling you a few other quotes that may make you think. And this one's from Ann B. Ross. I certainly support a woman's right to choose. But to my mind, the time to choose was before, not after the fact. Now, does that make sense or what? I mean, too many people use an abortion as a form of birth control. And that's very wrong. I could never have an abortion. Brooke Shields actually said that. The greatest form of abortion is not letting the man put it there in the first place. Bingo! That was what I've been saying. I can't even pronounce that dude's name. But people. So there goes on and on. Famous people making quotes about this, and I could go on for an hour reading these, and they all make sense and they all make you stop and think. But it's funny how you name the shows the times in which we live and how the theories in people's mind have flip-flopped over the past 20, 30 years. Not even 20, 30 years if you want to get into some things as short as 5 years how they flip. Districts of Columbia. If Barack Obama was against abortion, guess what? All the liberals would still be against abortion right now. It's just the way it is, and I don't know how many people it takes to have a voice, but just me or you alone don't have a voice or silenced. Just like the well-trained monkey you talked to on the phone from New York. All that, you was probably the 27th call he had today about that, if not the 100th call. He already had it scripted, knew exactly what to say, was probably told what to say. And you can't blame him because, maybe he's got a newborn child he's trying to support rather than live off the system. But at the same time, it's wrong. I mean, but we agree on a lot of the same things in abortion. I'll go back to say what I said at the beginning. I think it's the moment the heartbeat starts, which is very early, too, within a couple weeks that life has started. But to me, they quit teaching abstinence in schools and started handing out condoms instead. And this is where it's become a problem. And, if you're handing out condoms, you're basically saying it's okay to have sex. Just use protection. Well, what happens if you don't have protection? Hell. It's still okay to have sex. When we were in school, it was all about STDs being transmitted. It wasn't about pregnancy. The big push back then in the 80s and 90s was AIDS, syphilis, all the other stuff. And that's why they passed out condoms back then.
Herpes.
Herpes too. I mean, whatever. The clap, genital fungingitis, whatever they want to come up with next, I don't care. But, that's what it was all about in the 80s and 90s, and they preached abstinence otherwise. Now they don't even preach it no more. You go into your health class, and You'll be lucky if the doctor ain't in there. I mean, the healthcare teacher ain't in there smoking a joint, because it's all acceptable now. Like that banker said, penis, vagina. 30 years ago, if you said that in school, you probably would have get suspended. Now it's common talk on every show, every night on TV. So is a man kissing a man, a girl kissing a girl. It's all fully acceptable. Why? It's not. It's not the correct way for human nature to behave. Bees don't go around humping, the opposite sex bees. Birds don't screw the other opposite sex of birds. And except for the occasional horny poodle, dogs got it right. Why the hell can't human beings get it right? That's all I got to say.
Okay, all right. I want to give 909 a couple minutes here, too, because she's from California, and I like to hear from people across the country. And then I got a private caller also that I'll get to. I'll move up the line. Everyone's going to get plenty of time here. Just take 2 or 3 minutes just to have some thoughts here about this topic about abortion, because I feel very strongly about it. And I'm going to stand up against it. I'm going to fight against it. I will. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to call as many people as I can on this radio show. I'll continue to fight, just like I did tonight, calling a live New York City police officer. But 909, go ahead.
Thank you, Joseph. I just wanted to say that, okay, I'm a conservative, registered Republican, and I support what group, whether it's a neo-Nazi, whether it's a Black Lives Matter, whoever they are, to protest or speak their mind or whatever it is. But murder is murder, whether it's their group, the other group, or a woman having an abortion. It's murder, period, and it's wrong. No matter how you look at it. We have laws on the book that say murder is against the law. And so, as far as the choosing between a mother's life and a child's life, there are circumstances that have to be considered at that point, because in either case, if it's the mother's life or the child's life, it's not necessarily murder, because either one of them is going to die as far as one needs the other. And that just has to be a decision on the person's part, I guess. But as far as the child going to full term, being born, and then just letting it cry on the table and die, or leaving it in the closet and letting it die. And I'm not kidding. If you go to, it's a new posting on YouTube on Crowder with Louder. He's talking to a person that used to work at an abortion clinic, and now she works with Christian Ministries, and she has documentation from the state of California showing how many abortions are conducted a day just at the clinic that she was working at. And she was talking 50 a day, and return customers, okay? The stories that she talks about, and also the documentation that she has, she's not a fake person as far as saying, oh, I did work there and this and this and this. No. Recommend if you get a chance to go over there and check it out. Again, Crowder with Louder. It's the post. He posted it today, so it's new. And she.
I'd like to get her on this program. Actually, I'm going to look that up. That would be great to get her on this program, because we need witnesses to abortion. And like the caller from Florida, obviously is a pro-life and said that children are, that are born out of wedlock and whatnot are a burden to society, and therefore they should be murdered. And basically that's what the caller was saying. I'm not misquoting the caller. I mean, this is terrible, and it bothers me. It really does.
It should. And, they pay these people so well that work there at these clinics, at the Planned Parenthood clinics. She was saying that they almost feel burdened as far as leaving. They don't feel like they can leave, the women that are there. They may be single parents, and so because of the money that they are paid and the amount of hours that they have to work, leaves little time to look for another job. But her ministries help them leave, as far as if they want to get out, they'll help them leave. And they do have a form of PTSD because of the things that they saw, witnessed, as far as technicians being held back from giving mouth-to-mouth resuscitation to the child that they just let cry and die, and then she had, after they let her go because the child was dead, she had done CPR, for another 3 hours trying to bring it back. And, of course, she failed.
Oh, my Lord. Oh, how do you live with that? How do you go home after work, living with that on your conscience? Oh, my Lord. I just can't imagine it.
So they give them counseling and everything else to try and help them out with that because it's very traumatic, to witness that. And, of course, they started there. But she said it starts with them answering phones. And then little by little, they work them back to the back rooms, to the patient rooms, with little things as far as, can you help me with this? Oh, can you bring that over to me, this type of thing. Before you know it, they're in the room, not necessarily performing the abortions, but now they're in the room during the abortions. And she was saying...
Hey, 909?
Huh?
Do you know why abortion's legal?
Do I know why?
Because babies can't vote. That's why.
Yep, that's right. And she was saying that the nurse practitioners, which we can thank President Obama for that, because he had signed into law as far as nurse practitioners being able to perform the same procedures as doctors. So doctors aren't even performing these procedures anymore. Nurse practitioners are. And the
a closing comment right quick, Joe Gibson. A closing comment.
Yeah, no, hang on. Hang on. 909, I appreciate you joining the program again. Your voice is always welcome on this program. I want Brother Mercy. He's been waiting. I want him to give a couple minutes of closing thoughts on this. And I got one other caller I've got to get to that's been waiting a long time. And real quick, Brother Mercy, go ahead, my friend.
I'd like to give a closing comment on behalf of abortion alone, only abortion.
Yeah, go ahead. But hang on, Mandela Khan. Go ahead, Brother Mercy. Go ahead. I don't know if Brother Mercy's still there or not. Brother Mercy, you still there?
1 minute on abortion alone.
All right, hang on, Mandela Khan. Hang on. Brother Mercy's on the phone line. I don't know what happened to him. I got a private caller here. Could be a crank caller. I don't know. Let's see here. Let's see if what they got to say. Stay on the topic. Abortion, please. I don't want to talk about government employees or anything like that, or electric meters or none of that. Let's stay on the topic of abortion. Go ahead, private caller. Unmuted. Go ahead.
My most noble Supreme High Commander, Honorable Brother Mandela.
Abortion. Abort.
Honorable Brother Joe Gibson. Number one, when you started the program, because you know that you've had
abortion.
Mandela Khan, let her speak, please. All right, Mandela Khan, I got to mute your number. You're talking over her. Come on.
From the book Genesis, you read several chapters from the book of the Bible, but the book Genesis, what was the verse and the chapter was, the chapter and verse that you read from Genesis? I think it was chapter 1. Can you reread that real quick?
Chapter 1, the book of Genesis. Let me go back in my notes here. Genesis 1:27. So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them, male and female. He created them. That's what I quoted.
First of all, I'd like to know which version of the Bible you just read from, because it does not say God created mankind.
The original. Well, I don't want to get into a biblical theological discussion. We're talking about abortion here.
Get your book, and the first commandment given to man and woman, knowing and enriched between beings, is be fruitful and multiply. Now, in chapter 2 of Genesis, when the mankind were genetically engineered and then cloned, Eve is a clone of Adam. Adam was given
abort.
Why you got
all right, Mandela Khan, come on, please. Let her speak.
Subject matter tonight is abortion, not the Bible.
Now, the other thing here is staying on topic, since you called me out saying
abortion.
Of the different topics that you bring forth, it's most difficult.
Abortion is the topic for tonight. Abortion.
Well, hang on. We're not going to get to disorder here in the last few minutes of the show. The topic is abortion, and abortion is murder.
Of course we're not, because abortion is the subject matter. Abortion matter is not the force. Abortion.
I have to agree with Delicon on this one.
All right, I muted him. I muted Delicon here because he's talking over the female that's speaking right now. We're talking about abortion. Go ahead, ma'am.
Now, you made me forget. Bill Gates, his wife, and his daddy, and he mentioned earlier Singer, as well as Ted. I can't even think of his name. Oh, my goodness. But also, I'm just trying to say, this other unit that you brought out about, what did you call it? Right to, what is it called? Rights to life or something like that? They are about abortion. And they're even under the Catholic Church. I have called them, and I was shocked that they said, oh, we do abortions. Now, when you study and understand, these people eat the children, they eat the body parts, including the placenta, and they do rituals with it. But that's in the Old Testament, too. It's not new. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verses 55. 2 Kings chapter 6, verses 24 to 33. This eating of children was started by the genetically engineered mankind, womankind. And I can give more details. They stole my children.
But hang on, Angel Lady Love, let me ask you this question. Did you believe the main subject here tonight was abortion, and we're talking about New York state law where they can actually murder a baby after birth. Do you agree with that?
Well, first of all, I don't agree with prisons and none of the degeneracy that was brought here by the illegal, undocumented European invaders. The prison is
I don't want to get into that.
Well, then why do you all have to? Why have you had electric chairs? Killing, it says number 5 out of the top 10 out of 614 universal laws, 613 Mosaic laws. Number 5 says thou shalt not kill.
We're not under the law. All right. We're not getting. I don't want to get. Hang on, Angel Lady Love. With all due respect, I don't want to get into a theological debate here. We're not under the law anymore. We're under the age of grace right now.
And I can too, but if you're going to quote it, please use the words they use. And if it's a totally different Bible, just at least let us know it's not the old King James Version, because mankind was made.
Her beau's in prison.
Chapter 2 of Genesis, that's the genetically engineered beings from the ape. They do not have melanin in their largest organ, which is the skin.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to get into. Micro. Listen, that's another show, Angel Lady Love. We can get into how they're poisoning the people.
No, you got 2 minutes left. Get to your other caller.
You don't want to hear the truth, but yet you let me be on hold all that time. You knew you were intentionally believing it, but I'll tell you what that is.
No, but I want to stick to the topic of abortion. That's what I'm getting at. I don't want to talk about my Stouffer's lasagna that's in a microwave right now. I don't want to talk about that.
So why do you
always don't make me hungry?
All these other things you do?
I want to talk about abortion tonight.
Here's the thing. I'm the same difference. For everyone, whatever they think, keep on thinking what you think. But believe this, your heart will be read and your mind, every thought, word, action, deed, and intent is monitored.
Angel Lady Love, I agree with about 90% of the things you say, but I don't want to talk about 30,000 different subjects. Hang on.
They're still alive now. They're stealing children of rich people, and they eat the blood.
Okay, Angel Lady Love, I had to mute you. I don't want to talk about 30,000 different topics here tonight, and the show goes into chaos. I agree with a lot of what you're saying. However, the topic tonight was abortion. That's what we're talking about, okay? And what New York State has done and we talked about the Commonwealth. We talked about a lot of different issues. I agree with a lot of what you're saying, but we can't talk about 30,000 different subjects in a 2-hour show. I know you got a lot on your mind, and I want to give you a voice, but we can't be talking over each other. I'm not going to allow that. I just can't. I'm not going to do that anymore on this show. But I want to I'm losing my voice, actually. But I want to thank the callers tonight. Thank you. And I give everyone a voice. But listen, we just can't be yelling at each other about this and that and that. We got to talk about a particular topic. Good night, everybody. Take care. God bless. Be safe. All right?
Good night.